morning. I am Mrs. R.S. Diana, Professor, Department of Nutrition of Sri Balaji College of Nursing, Bharat University, Chennai. Today I am going to deal with the topic carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are mainly sugars and starches together constituting one of the three principal types of nutrients used as energy sources by the body. Carbohydrates can also be defined chemically as neutral compounds of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbohydrates come in simple forms such as sugars and in complex forms such as starches and fiber. The body breaks down most sugars and starches into glucose, a simple sugar that the body can use to feed its cells. Classification of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are classified as monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides consist of one sugar molecule, disaccharides consist of two sugar molecules, oligosaccharides consist of 2 to 10 sugar molecules, and polysaccharides consist of 10 or more sugar molecules. Examples of monosaccharides are glucose, fructose, and galactose. Examples of disaccharides are sucrose, lactose, and maltose. Examples of oligosaccharides are raffinose and stachyose. Examples of polysaccharides are starch, glycogen, and cellulose. The simple carbohydrates include single sugars, monosaccharides and polymers, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides, simplest group of carbohydrates and often called simple sugars since they cannot be further hydrolyzed. Colorless, crystalline solid which are soluble in water and insoluble in a non-polar solvent. These are compounds which possess a free aldehyde or ketone group. The general formula is CnH2ON or CnH2nON. They are classified according to the number of carbon atoms they contain and also on the basis of the functional groups present. The general formula is CnH2ON or CnH2nON. They are classified according to the number of carbon atoms they contain and also on the basis of the functional group present. The monosaccharides, thus with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 carbons are called trioses, tetroses, pentoses, hexoses, heptoses, etc. and also as aldoses or ketoses depending upon whether they contain aldehyde or ketone group. Examples are glucose, fructose, erythrulose, and ribulose. Oligosaccharides. Oligosaccharides are compound sugars that yield 2 to 10 molecules of the same or different monosaccharides on hydrolysis. The monosaccharide units are joined by glycosidic linkage. Based on the number of monosaccharide units, it is further classified as disaccharide, trisaccharide, tetrasaccharide, etc. Oligosaccharides yielding 2 molecules of monosaccharides on hydrolysis is known as a disaccharide, and the ones yielding 3 or 4 monosaccharides are known as trisaccharides and tetrasaccharides respectively, and so on. The general formula of disaccharides is CnH2ON-1 and that of trisaccharides is CnH2ON-2 and so on. Examples are disaccharides include sucrose, lactose, maltose, etc. Trisaccharides are raffinose, rabinose. Polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are also called as glycans. Polysaccharides contain more than 10 monosaccharide units and can be hundreds of sugar units in length. They yield more than 10 molecules of monosaccharides on hydrolysis. Polysaccharides differ from each other in the identity of their recurring monosaccharide units, in the length of their chains, in the types of bond linking units, and in the degree of branching. They are further classified depending on the type of molecules produced as a result of hydrolysis. They may be homopolysaccharides containing monosaccharides of the same type or heteropolysaccharides, that is monosaccharides of different types. They are primarily concerned with two important functions, that is structural functions and the storage of energy. Examples of homopolysaccharides are starch, glycogen, cellulose, and pectin. Heteropolysaccharides are hyaluronic acid, chondroitin. Functions of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates provides energy and helps in the regulation of blood glucose. It will prevent the degradation of skeletal muscle and other tissues such as the heart, liver, and kidneys. It prevents the breakdown of proteins for energy. Carbohydrates also help with the fat metabolism. If the body has enough energy for its immediate needs, it stores extra energy as fat. Carbohydrates are an important component of many industries like textile, paper, lacquers, and breweries. Detoxification of physiological importance is carried out to some extent with carbohydrate derivatives. Agar is polysaccharide used in the culture media, laxative, and food. Carbohydrates form a part of genetic material like DNA and RNA in the form of deoxyribose and ribose sugars. Hyaluronic acid found in between the joints acts as the synovial fluid and provides frictionless movement. They help make up the body mass by being included in all the parts of the cell and tissues. Adequate storage of hepatic glycogen helps in detoxifying the normal liver. They form the components of biomolecules which have a key role in blood clotting, immunity, fertilization, etc. Carbohydrates is basically the main fiber of the diet or provide the bulk fiber for better digestion. Carbohydrates help clear gut and prevents constipation. Starch is the form the food is stored in the plants. It provides sweetness to the foods. Pectins and hemicellulose are the structural carbohydrate in plant cell walls. It plays important roles in cellular recognition processes. Chitin forms the cell wall of fungi and other skeleton of insects. Murine is a structural carbohydrate in bacterial cell wall. Sources of carbohydrates. They are found in a wide variety of natural and processed foods. Starch is a polysaccharide. It is abundant in cereals like wheat, maize, rice, potatoes, and processed foods based on cereal flour such as bread, pizza, or pasta. Sugars appear in human diet mainly as table sugar, sucrose, extracted from sugarcane or sugar beets, lactose, abundant in milk, glucose and fructose, both of which occur naturally in honey, many fruits, and some vegetables. Table sugar, milk, or honey are often added to drinks and many prepared foods such as jam, biscuits, and cakes. Food sources. So these are the food sources of carbohydrates. Table sugar, milk, or honey. They are added to the drinks and many prepared foods such as jam, biscuits, and cakes. Cellulose, a polysaccharide found in the cell walls of all plants, is one of the main components of insoluble dietary fiber. Although it is not digestible, insoluble dietary fiber helps to maintain a healthy digestive system by easing defecation. Other polysaccharides contained in dietary fiber include resistant starch and inulin, which feed some bacteria in the microbiota of the large intestine and are metabolized by these bacteria to yield short-chain fatty acids. Digestion of carbohydrates in the human body. This is the diagrammatic representation of the digestion of carbohydrates in the human body. It involves the enzymes like salivary amylase, pancreatic amylase, sucrase, lactase, and maltase. The food that we consume contains three types of carbohydrates, namely polysaccharides, oligosaccharides, and disaccharides, which need digestion. The polysaccharides include starch, glycogen, and cellulose. The oligosaccharides include dextrins. The disaccharides are sucrose, cane sugar or table sugar, and lactose, milk sugar. All these carbohydrates are digested by carbohydrases to monosaccharides like glucose, fructose, and galactose. Carbohydrates are digested in the following way. buccal cavity mouth. The food receives saliva in the buccal cavity or mouth. Saliva contains enzyme salivary amylase ptyalin and lysozyme. Ptyalin is activated by chloride ions present in the saliva itself. Ptyalin splits the starch and glycogen first into dextrins and then into double sugars, maltose and isomaltose, and small dextrins called limit dextrins. Mastication mixes the food with saliva and breaks it into small particles with larger total surface area, which facilitates the action of ptyalin. Water and mucin of saliva help the teeth in masticating by moistening the food. Salivary digestion in oral cavity is restricted because of the shorter time the food is retained there. About 30% of the starch in the food is hydrolyzed in the oral cavity. Lysozyme kills the microbes present in the food. Starch and glycogen gets converted to maltose plus isomaltose plus limit dextrin by the enzyme salivary amylase. Digestion in the stomach. In the stomach, the salivary digestion of carbohydrates continues until ptyalin is destroyed by hydrochloric acid of the gastric juice. This takes about half an hour and the gastric juice itself has no carbohydrates. Digestion in the small intestine. Small intestine, the food meets two juices in the small intestine, pancreatic juice and the intestinal juice. Pancreatic juice, it contains a carbohydrate named pancreatic amylase, which hydrolyzes most starch and glycogen into dextrins and the latter to double sugars, maltose and isomaltose and limit dextrins. Starch and glycogen gets converted to maltose plus isomaltose plus limit dextrins with the help of pancreatic amylase. Intestinal juice. It contains 6 carbohydrates present in trace amounts: maltase, isomaltase, limit dextrinase, sucrase, and lactase. Intestinal amylase hydrolyzes the remaining starch and glycogen into dextrins and the latter to double sugars, maltose and isomaltose, and limit dextrins. Maltase splits the double sugar maltose into single sugar glucose. Maltose gets converted to glucose by maltase. Isomaltase splits double sugar isomaltose into single sugar glucose. Isomaltose is being converted to glucose by isomaltase. Limit dextrinase converts limit dextrins into single sugar glucose. Limit dextrins gets converted to glucose by limit dextrinase. Sucrase breaks the double sugar sucrose into single sugar. Sucrose is converted to glucose plus fructose by sucrase. Lactase hydrolyzes the double sugar lactose into single sugars glucose and galactose. Lactose gets converted to glucose plus galactose by lactase. Cellulose is not digested in the humans. It is digested by symbiotic microorganisms, bacteria and ciliates living in the gut of herbivorous mammals. Thus, the entire carbohydrate part of the ingested food is changed into glucose, fructose, and galactose, which are called the end products of carbohydrate digestion and are absorbable from the intestinal mucosa. This is the diagrammatic representation of the absorption of carbohydrates. The absorption of carbohydrates involves 3 mechanisms. They are passive diffusion, facilitated diffusion or carrier mediated, and active transport. Coming to the difference between the 3 types of transport: passive diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and active transport. The features: concentration gradient in passive diffusion are down the concentration gradient from high to low. In facilitated diffusion, down the concentration gradient from high to low, and in active transport, against a concentration gradient from low to high. The energy expenditure is none in passive diffusion, none in facilitated diffusion. Energy expenditure is in the form of ATP in active transport. The carrier protein or transporter is not required in passive diffusion, required in facilitated diffusion, and required in active transport. The speed is slowest mode in the passive diffusion, fast in the facilitated diffusion, and fastest mode in the active transport. Glucose is a polar molecule. It cannot pass through the lipid bilayer of cell. So this is Glucose transporters, there are two types: sodium dependent transporter, also called SGLT, and sodium independent transporter, also called GLUT. Sodium dependent transporter, it's a type of co-transport, two binding sites on the transporter, one for sodium and the other for glucose. Sodium binding is important because after sodium binding, conformational changes occurs so that glucose can bind. Sodium is transported across membrane down the concentration gradient, and glucose goes against a concentration gradient. ATP is spent at the level of sodium potassium. ATP is pumped to expel the sodium out. Both glucose and galactose are absorbed by the sodium dependent process. They are carried by the same transport protein, SGLT. Absorption of carbohydrates, showing the co-transport of glucose mediated by SGLT1, 2. SGLT1 are present on the intestinal cells, while SGLT2 are present on the proximal renal tubular cells. Three reasons for expulsion of sodium. Sodium is osmotically active, causes osmotic flow to cells, leading to osmolysis. Sodium concentration has to be kept minimal to maintain the downward gradient. Sodium is inhibitory to many enzyme actions. Solvent drag absorption. This is the diagrammatic representation. The downward sodium releases energy. Energy released is captured for the transport of glucose against a concentration gradient. Sodium expelled out through sodium potassium ATPase pump. Energy is consumed at the level of ATP. 3 sodium are expelled out and 2 K are internalized. The sodium removed to paracellular spaces exerts osmotic pressure that causes flow of water to intracellular spaces. Water carries the dissolved glucose with it. This type of absorption is called solvent drag absorption. Clinical significance. In deficiency of SGLT1, glucose is left unabsorbed and is excreted in feces. Galactose is also malabsorbed. In deficiency of SGLT2, the filtered glucose is not reabsorbed back. It is lost in urine, causing glycosuria. Solvent drag is not the main mechanism of glucose absorption, but is important after a carbohydrate-rich diet. Absorption of galactose is faster than glucose. In kidney, reabsorption of filtered glucose takes place by a similar mechanism. That is, it is also a co-transport with sodium. The transporter is SGLT2. In intestine, it is SGLT1. Sodium independent transporters used for facilitated transport. These transporters are numbered from 1 to 14. GLUT in the intestine. GLUT2 are present towards the serosal surface of intestinal epithelial cells, and GLUT5 are present towards the luminal surface. Diagram showing the absorption of monosaccharides. The first step is enzymes on the luminal surface of the small intestine. Epithelial cells digest the disaccharides into monosaccharides. Monosaccharides are absorbed into the cells by facilitated diffusion or by secondary active transport with sodium ions. Factors affecting the rate of absorption of monosaccharides. The absorption is faster through intact mucosa. The absorption is decreased if there is some inflammation or injury to the mucosa. Thyroid hormones increases the rate of absorption of glucose. Mineralocorticoid, that is aldosterone, increases the rate of absorption. Vitamin B6, B12, pantothenic acid, folic acid are required for the absorption of glucose. With advancing age, rate of absorption declines. Insulin has no role in the absorption of monosaccharide like glucose. Uptake of glucose in the peripheral cells. Mechanism: facilitated diffusion. There are 7 important glucose transporters for the uptake of glucose into special cells. They have been numbered from 1 to 7, GLUT1 to GLUT7. They are biologically important. Excess of carbohydrates leads to diabetes mellitus. It is a diametabolic disorder of multiple etiology characterized by chronic hyperglycemia with disturbances of carbohydrates, fats, and protein metabolism resulting from defects in insulin secretion, insulin action, or both. Clinical features are easy fatigability, polyuria, polydipsia, wasting, weight loss, air hunger, blurred vision, poor wound healing. Complications include acute and chronic. In acute, we have diabetic ketoacidosis, hyperglycemic hyperosmolar state, in chronic, microvascular, macrovascular, and others. Microvascular complications are retinopathy, macular edema, sensory and motor neuropathy, autonomic neuropathy. Macrovascular complications, coronary heart disease, peripheral arterial disease, and cerebrovascular disease. Others are cataract, glaucoma, periodontal disease, hearing loss, gastroparesis, diarrhea, sexual dysfunction, acanthosis nigricans, necrobiosis, lipodica, vitiligo, etc. These are the photos showing the complications: retinopathy, macular edema, glaucoma, cataract. Acanthosis nigricans, necrobiosis lipodica, lipohypertrophy, neuropathic foot ulcer, vitiligo. Types include 4 types. Type 1 IDDM, insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, also called juvenile diabetes. Type 2 NIDDM. Type 3 gestational diabetes. Type 4 other specific types. Type 2 non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, common among adults and elderly people, accounts for about 90 to 95% of all the diagnosed cases of diabetes, begins as insulin resistance. As the need for insulin rises, the pancreas gradually loses its ability to produce insulin. Type 3 gestational diabetes. It is a condition of glucose intolerance diagnosed in some women during pregnancy, common in African Americans, Latino Americans, American Indians, obese women with family history of diabetes. After pregnancy, 5 to 10% of women with gestational diabetes are found to develop type 2 diabetes. Other specific types are genetic defects of beta cell function, genetic defect in insulin action, pancreatic diseases, excess endogenous production of hormonal antagonists to insulin, drug-induced viral infections, latent autoimmune diabetes in adults known as LADA, modified onset of diabetes in young known as MODY. Risk factors. The risk factors are age, sex, genetic factors, genetic markers like HLA-B8, HLA-B15, HLA-DR3, and HLA-DR4, immune mechanism, maternal diabetes, obesity. Environmental factors, sedentary lifestyle, diet rich in saturated fatty acids, decreased consumption of dietary fibers, malnutrition, alcohol, chemical agents, stress, and other factors. Diagnosis of diabetes mellitus. This shows the values for diagnosis of diabetes mellitus and other categories of hyperglycemia. It shows in glucose concentration millimoles per liter, in whole blood as venous and capillary, and in plasma venous. Diabetes mellitus in fasting level in venous, it is greater than 110, capillary greater than 110, and in plasma venous, it is greater than 126. In 2-hour post-glucose load or both. In venous, it is greater than 180, capillary greater than 200, in plasma venous greater than 200. Impaired glucose tolerance, fasting, less than 110 in venous, less than 110 in capillary, and less than 126 in plasma venous, and 2-hour post-glucose load greater than 120 and less than 180 in venous, in capillary greater than 140 and less than 200, in plasma venous greater than 140 and less than 200. Impaired fasting glycemia, IFG, in fasting level greater than 100 and less than 110. Then in capillary, it is greater than 140 and less than 200. In plasma, greater than 140 and less than 200. In the impaired, that is in impaired fasting glycemia, 2-hour post-glucose lead, the venous blood, it is about less than 120. In capillary, it is less than 140. And in plasma venous, it is less than 140. Screening, urine examination. Lack of sensitivity gives too many false negatives. Blood sugar testing, random blood sugar, it should be greater than 200 milligrams per DL with symptoms and signs of diabetes. In fasting blood sugar, greater than 126 milligrams per DL. Postprandial blood sugar, greater than 200 milligrams per DL. Glycated hemoglobin, greater than 6.5%. Target population more than 40 years, family history of diabetes, obese, HDL less than 35 milligrams per DL and triglycerides more than 250 milligrams per DL, women who had baby weighing greater than 4 kgs, women who show excess weight gain during pregnancy, patients with premature atherosclerosis. Management of diabetes mellitus. The major components of the treatment of diabetes mellitus are A, B, C. A is diet and exercise, B, oral hypoglycemic therapy, and C is insulin therapy. Diet. Diet is the basic part of management in every case. Treatment cannot be effective unless adequate attention is given to ensure appropriate nutrition. Dietary treatment should aim at ensuring weight control, providing nutritional requirements, allowing good glycemic control with the glucose level as close as normal as possible, and correcting any associated blood lipid abnormalities. Exercise. Physical activity promotes weight reduction and improves insulin sensitivity, thus lowering the blood glucose level. Together with dietary treatment, a program of regular physical activity and exercise should be considered for each person. Such a program must be tailored to the individual's health status and fitness. People should, however, be educated about the potential risk of hypoglycemia and how to avoid it. Oral anti-diabetic agents. There are currently 4 classes of oral anti-diabetic agents. It includes biguanides, insulin secretagogues, sulfonylureas, insulin secretagogues, non-sulfonyl ureas, alpha-glucosidase inhibitors, thiazolidine, TZDs, glycemic index. The glycemic index is a measurement system that ranks the foods according to the effect on your blood sugar levels. It was created in the early 1980s by Dr. David Jenkins, a Canadian professor. Rates at which different foods raise the blood sugar levels are ranked in comparison with the absorption of 50 grams of pure glucose. Pure glucose is used as a reference food and has a GI value of 100. The 3 GI ratings are low 55 or fewer, medium 56 to 69, high 70 or more. Foods with a low GI value are the preferred choice. They are slowly digested and absorbed, causing a slower and smaller rise in the blood sugar levels. On the other hand, foods with a high GI value should be limited. They are quickly digested and absorbed, resulting in a rapid rise and fall of blood sugar levels. Conclusion. Healthy carbohydrate-rich foods containing 12 grams of carbohydrates or more per serving includes whole grains, quinoa, amaranth, barley, brown rice, oatmeal, whole grain pasta, and whole grain breakfast cereals. Fruits includes berries, citrus fruits, melons, apples, pears, bananas, and kiwi fruit. Starchy vegetables include sweet potatoes, yams, corn, peas, and carrots. Legumes, lentils, black beans, pinto beans, navy beans, chickpeas, and soya beans. Milk products, low-fat milk, plain yogurt, and soy yogurt. Healthy foods, lower in carbohydrates, less than 10 grams per serving includes non-starchy vegetables like leafy greens, spinach, cabbage, asparagus, tomatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, cucumbers, peppers, zucchini, and mushrooms. Nuts and seeds includes pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, almonds, cashews, walnuts, peanuts, pistachios, soy milk, and tofu. Thank you.